everyone, so it's really windy today, I'm sorry about that. And today I'm going to be answering your questions that you asked me on my previous video. Okay, so the first question is, I was wondering if it matters what time you feed your guinea pigs. Does it make them stressed if they are fed at different times? On a morning, what I will do is I will give them their first vegetable meal. This can sometimes consist of fruit, but in general it is predominantly just vegetables because this is more essential to their health. And fruits should only really be given more as a treat. In the morning I will give them their first feeding of vegetables. I do weigh it, so I make sure that they're getting enough. Ideally you want to be giving them 10% of their body weight in vegetables daily, and it's especially important for mine because they don't get pellets, so to ensure they don't get any deficiencies and make sure that they're getting all the nutrients they need at least 10% of their body weight. So if your guinea pig weighs 1,000 grams, I would recommend feeding them 100 grams of vegetables daily if possible. I think it's important to get into a routine with them, and once you've got into a routine it works out really nicely and they do get used to it. So I feel like if you get into a routine they will know what to expect and know what times you're going to be feeding them. So I try and space it out as much as possible. I like to feed one in the morning, which will either be around 8 or 9 o'clock. Most commonly about 4 PM I do their second feeding, and then their final feeding is always at around 8 PM. If your guinea pigs have been eating just mainly hay for about 23 hours, if you then feed them a large amount of vegetables, this can cause an imbalance to their intestine, and it can also cause faulty fermentation in the gut. So you want to be really careful, spread it out, and I know some people find it hard because they are busy, but I suggest you fit around whatever you do. For example, if you go to school, try and work around the hours, so feed them before, for example, and then feed them as soon as you come home. And there's ways around it, and just try and adapt it to suit you and your guinea pigs. She's gorgeous. You putty pig. The next question is, what veggies do you give your pigs during the week and how much of them do you give? In general, I always feed things like bell peppers. They're a great source of vitamin C. Guinea pigs need a lot of that. Sometimes they get carrots, they get celery, cucumber, lettuce, and that's romaine lettuce. That's very popular with my guinea pigs. So they also get apple, tomatoes, beetroot, sometimes green beans, sweet corn, fennel, just as much variety as I possibly can. It really depends what we have during the week, but I do try and switch up all the time and make sure they're getting enough variety and also enough quantity to make sure that it's giving them the nutrients that they need. There's this really useful website and it tells you all of the different vegetables guinea pigs can have and in what quantities. They even include a feeding plan, so I'll link that down below. I've always used that as a sort of guidance to know how much of which vegetables and also fruit I should be feeding to them. You're so cute. She is so adorable. Should we put you back now with the others? The final question for this mini Q&A session is, I have heard people say that guinea pigs can suffer from heat stroke if they're outside. Is that true? And if so, what temperature do you recommend it should be around when they're outside? So that is a really good question, and I think that it's very important to cover this in the video. So I would say anything above 20 degrees Celsius is considered hot for a guinea pig. Now, guinea pigs cannot sweat or pant. It's very difficult for them to cool down, so I did make a video on keeping your guinea pigs cool in the summer. So if your guinea pigs are housed outdoors or you just want to bring them out, then I suggest you watch that video for some tips to help keep them cool during the summer months. So although I think it's really great to house them outdoors and it really does allow them to live more naturally, I do think that it is very important to ensure that you take some precautions to ensure that they don't get too hot. For example, shading and providing them with damp towels on a really hot day, and I included many of these things in that video. For example, you could have a really big shaded roof if they live in an outdoor enclosure. Make sure they have plenty of water to keep hydrated. Give them ventilation by including a mesh door. Just take certain precautions to ensure that they're safe and comfortable during the hot weather. You're so cute, Mabel. Be sure to leave any questions you have down below for the next Q&A video. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye!